Hey guys, Mike with Diamondback Shooting Sports, here to start a series on dry fire. Dry fire is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I talk about it a lot in our classes. So we wanted to go through with you just generally what you would need for dry fire, what you can use, what's kind of required, what's optional, and some at-home methods for setting yourself up for dry fire. So starting off, obviously we need a firearm to work with. Not all dry fire absolutely requires a firearm. You can do a lot of visual exercises without a firearm, but having that platform that you're going to be working with is very important for the dry fire process. With that, we need to make sure that the firearm is completely cleared out. We can use our holsters, our mag carriers, other things like that, but again, there's a variety of different types of dry fire where we don't even need those, we just need the gun. With that, if we're going to be working with any magazines, we want to make sure that our magazines are completely cleared out of any live ammunition, and that we're using snap caps or dummy rounds. Dummy rounds and snap caps can be really useful for weighting the magazine, making it feel like it is that fully loaded magazine. So making sure that those are clearly identifiable, and then any ammo that you have is completely cleared from the area. This is as much as possible an ammo sterile environment. So with that, anytime you get started to dry fire, make sure you go through that process that you have in your home for clearing out your firearm to make sure that it's safe. As far as where to dry fire, I always recommend considering if there are any bedrooms, other things that are important on the other side of any place that you're going to be dry firing. I try and think about if there is an exterior wall, something that's made of brick, something that will be more likely, should the worst happen, to stop that round from going somewhere else. I would recommend setting yourself up in that environment as much as possible. It's not always perfect for everybody, so always the first step is making sure that you're in that ammo sterile environment. But after this, what all do you really need? So basic targets are going to be really important. It doesn't need to be anything too crazy. So I've got a couple options here. One is just Post-it notes and a marker. I can draw whatever I want up on the Post-it note. I can make targets of various sizes. I can use the whole Post-it note or put a circle in the Post-it note or create an array of Post-it notes. This is great for travel if I don't want to bring any targets with me. But then it just pretty much ends at that point at it's really up to your imagination what you need to actually dry fire, but you can be as simple as a Post-it note and a pen. Some guys will actually also use just pasters. So I have a paster pack here, and I can put these up all over the room at different places, make multiple pasters, little arrays, different things like that. So pasters can be really useful for that process as well. But then after that, what most people will use for targets are either a scale. So these are actually cardboard scale targets, generally 1/3 scale, sometimes smaller, and then putting these about your room, your dry fire environment, whatever that looks like. One big consideration with these is you do need some type of depth interchange as well. So thinking about this, if I only have single size targets on a plane, then it won't look actually like, you know, a stage. Maybe if I'm doing just a classifier, it works just fine. But I want to add some depth. So sometimes I need to consider strategically placing these in the room so that there is a visual change of how far away the targets are. Let's say you're in a living room or something like that. You might have a side table, a lamp, you know, TV stand, other things like that that you can put targets on in depth as well, instead of just a flat plain wall. These are really, really good. I like them a lot. They come from Ben Steger Pro Shop. There's a lot of good stuff there on Ben Steger Pro Shop. And then, you know, really kind of getting out into the woods, there's a variety of other types of targets that you can get. So some that I have here, this is actually a mover target. So the target will actually move, it'll swing in place. I've got some, so this is a airsoft target that you can use. It allows for you to set up an actual swinging, moving target. So again, this is getting really kind of far out there in different things that you can do. At the end of the day, most of this stuff is what I would consider accessories. It's nice to have, but it's not really required for dry fire in and of itself. Remember what I had said at the beginning, we can just use that paster, that even small piece of painter's tape, or those post-it notes. We don't need any of those additional things. It's really about how creative you can be. And then the last thing that's really important, so you can use a variety of different types of these, is some means of measuring yourself. So a timer that has either a par time or that allows you to hopefully maybe even set up multiple par times. So these are a couple different types of timers that I've used. There's a whole variety out there. I've got the AMG Commander, I've got the Shooters Global, I think this is the Go, and then the Shooters Global Original. I really like the AMG is the one I'm kind of landed on right now, but there's a whole variety out there. You can even download ones on your phone. Okay guys, so a couple things to talk about here as far as the different timers that we have. So I've used a variety of different timers. I started out with a Competition Electronics, which I think was the Pro timer. I can't remember the specific model. It was the gray box one. You'll see it if you ever go out to a match. They're all over the place. They work really, really well. They're generally around $100, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the features. And they do basic timer things. They, record the shots. They allow you to set a par time. They allow you to set a random or instant beep. And then sometimes they allow you to do sensitivity and other stuff like that. Those are some of the more basic features. There's one timer that I really like for people who are on more of a budget or want something that's very small and has a lot of features. That's the AMG Sidekick, which is the same company as the Commander. That's a really small, it's really about the size of, about your thumb or smaller. About $60. You can hang it on your neck, and it has a huge variety of different little features in it, and works great for somebody who needs something smaller or isn't really wanting to spend as much money. As far as the AMG, and then we've got the two Shooters Globals here. So the AMG and the Shooters Global Go, these run around $160 or so. The Shooters Global, this is the original, but they're out with the 2 now. I know that one retails around $300. So the Shooters Global ones, they integrate more with your phone and allow you to make videos with like your par times and other stuff like that, like your shot times popping up. They also are generally more sensitive and can pick up actual dry fire, although that can sometimes be a little bit finicky. They can set a variety of different par times, but the thing that I've struggled with is just that when it's linked to the phone, I have less control over it. So while I like it, it sometimes is a little bit of a battle of going back and forth between the phone and the timer. I've come to really like the AMG Commander series. It's quite small, lightweight, does a really good job of having a variety of different features as far as par times, different sensitivities, having a whole bunch of different preset modes that you can choose from, and it's just very easy to use and very easy to tap through the different menus and see all of the shots. It'll also keep your last 3 shot strings all available to see, maybe what did my last run look like versus this run that I just did. Also very popular is the Kestrel. That one is around $300 as well. And then there is the PACT, P-A-C-T timer. That one is generally around, I think, same price as the Competition Electronic one's, $100, $120, something like that. Most of them more kind of focused towards simple but reliable function, and now you're getting more of the ones that kind of integrate with other technology now, like the Shooters Global ones. Outside of that, another thing that came up was a question on what do I pay attention to while I am dry firing? So how do I measure myself? How do I actually look at my results? So when I am looking at, so speed and accuracy are the two that I'm thinking about. Speed is, am I actually completing the task by that set par time? So one that I'll do as a demo in class is I will set a couple par times on here to do a bill drill, reload, and then another bill drill. So draw 6 shots, reload 6 more shots. And the par times that I use on this are 1 second for the first shot, 2 seconds for the first 6 shots to be completed, and then the last par time, because it'll only do 3, is at 4 seconds, at which point I should have completed my reload and come back up and be most of the way through my last 6 shots. When I go really smoothly, I'll get all of them off inside of that 4 seconds. When I have some more struggles, I'll maybe get to 3 or 4 in that 4 seconds. So with all of that, what am I looking for out of my sights? So my sights need to tell me if my grip is behaving consistently. So if that dot is, or iron sights, are showing up very stable, they're not moving around a lot, even if I really press on the trigger violently. And then if there is something that comes out of them, what does that tell me? So let's say I am presenting to the target, and as I press the trigger, I see the dot dip and push off down towards the low and left. Well, for me, that would give me that indication that when I had pressed the trigger, I'd probably pressed the trigger with my whole hand, and I dipped the gun away from my firing hand, being right-handed, pushing the gun low and to the left. So when I see that little bit of movement out of the dot, out of the sights, that tells me that that trigger press was more than I needed to actually hit the target. And likely I moved the gun when I pressed the trigger. So looking for those types of things, it comes from being very attentive to what is happening during pressing the trigger. Are your sights actually staying where they're at, or are they moving around? And if they are moving around, sorting out kind of how that's happening and what input we're putting on the gun to make it move in that direction. So if I pay attention to those things, if I know kind of generally when that buzzer has gone off, have I actually completed whatever, like reload or just even simple presentation to the target, have I actually completed that, or am I a little bit behind? And then is my sight picture actually telling me that the shot that I took, that dry shot, it would have actually hit the target? So it does require me to be very observant and kind of self-critical in the moment. With that, I can pretty well approximate the majority of what I would be doing out on the range, minus the actual gun moving around in my hands. But again, with that input, when I'm pressing the trigger, it should come out in the sights. If that sight stays nice and stable, then I've done my job. So the big thing about this is I need to set myself up to measure myself. So a target that has a scoring area, much like these, I can use that as a way of measuring my accuracy. So if I see my dot or my sights land in the center of my preferred scoring zone, and it stays there through my trigger press, well, okay, I know I've had a pretty good trigger press and I likely had an accurate shot, whatever that would look like. But then I also have to measure the speed of things, and that comes from either setting par times or replicating an exercise enough times that you can start to kind of create a baseline of what your skill should look like. So I really like using multiple par times. One of the cool things I like about the AMG Commander is that it allows me to set 3 different par times as well, so I can track multiple things. But then after that, it's really up to my own creativity. A lot of times the timer is really just the go signal, and then whatever my course of fire, whatever that looks like, I am doing that just based off of a pre-planned program in my mind. So after that, it really, again, like I said, comes down to the creativity that you put into it. These are some of the basic tools that you would need. Again, the big ones that you really need are the gun that you're going to be working with. If you need any of those magazines, having appropriate snap caps for those, your holster as needed, again, some type of target, and then a basic way of measuring yourself, measuring that speed aspect of things. So with that, guys, I hope you tag along with me for this. We're going to be doing a number of these, and then me as well. I'm actually going to be doing a dry fire challenge. I've done this before on my Instagram channel, but for me, what that is so today is my day 1 of dry fire. So it's been a while for me that I've been very consistent about this. So I'm going to kind of keep you guys updated on what that looks like as I go, and then kind of talk about that a little bit here in the videos that we do. But this is going to be kind of me getting back and recommitted into it and showing you guys a little bit about what that process looks like. So stay tuned.